So there are not many things I've ever committed to doing 40 straight weeks. We thought we would get together and celebrate. Welcome to this week's episode of Beers and Beauties.
Doesn't matter if you got Coors, Busch, Bud Light, or a local shop's IPA. All beers are welcome at Beers and Beauties, baby. Let's go.
Okay, buddy, I'm not kidding. 40 weeks in a row of hanging out. That was worth us sitting down together and drinking some random fridge beers of mine. What do you got in your hand?
Got one of me Vancouver Island Brewing, a Broken Island Hazy IPA.
Okay, and I've got some Lake of the Woods Lakeside Kolsch. So
let's do it. Crack her open.
Cheers to 40.
Cheers to 40,
That's
buddy.
pretty wicked.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. You know, I was actually...
Ooh, that's good.
Is it? Want to trade?
Yep.
All right. That's pretty good, actually. But you don't love, like, the light beers. This will be right in your wheelhouse, IPA. Yeah, that's good.
Ooh, we're drinking good at the Beauty Sports Desk.
Refreshing.
Yes.
Okay, let's rewind for a sec. How was your weekend?
Fantastic. It was awesome. So good. Got out, and you know what was crazy? It was the first time I've been to a fair in a really long time.
Where was the fair?
Stonewall.
Okay.
And to be at a fair with your 4-year-old son where it's like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. It was like, made me fall in love with it all over again.
For
you know,
sure.
like bumper cars. Let's get real.
That's
I
awesome.
hit the bumper cars up like nobody's business. That was so fun.
Did you play any of the games that feel rigged when you're an adult but felt very plausible
See,
to win when you were a child? Ring toss?
We didn't have any time because we were on the bumper cars for too long. But I walked by them and I still am like,
I know.
I'll get that. I'd
Okay.
win that.
So I go to Disneyland with Ashley's family. And you know, you've seen like documentaries and like things on TV, how the basketball games, they actually like oblong the hoops so that it's really difficult to get it in.
Right.
We had to bring home from Florida with us a like 4-foot tall SpongeBob because Coach Ash, phys ed teacher Ash, sinks a bucket, wins the biggest SpongeBob for our then 8-year-old nephew.
That's right.
So I was like, okay, way to prove. So now he's going to be addicted to every fair he ever goes to because
100%.
first time he goes to the biggest place in the world, wins a 4-foot tall life-size SpongeBob. So be happy that didn't happen with Harry.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
The only other reference of 40 weeks I have is my sister's expecting twins, and it takes 40 weeks to get full term with babies, and she may struggle to get there.
Whoa.
But what else do you do for 40 straight weeks? Grow babies and have a podcast.
Have a
Grow baby.
Grow little
babies in
podcast,
terms of
baby.
podcasts.
So true. That's so exciting. The twinnies are coming up soon, eh?
I know. Like, yeah, so everyone who doesn't know my sister, she's got 3 littles already who are the best, but she's got 2 more coming along here, and she's starting to get to the point where she doesn't want to do too much because she's like 2 weeks away from having 2 babies.
Wow.
Wild.
Absolutely crazy. So for today's episode, Cowie and I were sitting and reminiscing and talking and, you know, just kind of breaking down what it's meant and what's happened and what we've been a part of for the last 40 episodes.
I know.
Like, it's crazy to think of all the topics that we covered, all the athletes that we've talked to, all the sports that, you know, that we've been able to learn more about and stuff. Like, it's pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah, totally. And it seems like we were, it's funny how fast it becomes hard to remember. Like I asked you today, who was our first interview? Like we're trying to think back and we had Liz Knox. She was so gracious to join us when she was a part of
The PWHPA.
The PWHPA at one of the events and found a quiet spot in the lobby and hung out with us for half an hour. And so, you know, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about real life sports that are happening and then also going to reminisce. But I think that's the funny part of that is she was our first guest that we had. And we've talked about it for a few episodes of when are we going to hear something that's not from Jeff Merrick about the PWHPA. And we kind of got that. We kind of got it.
We got an announcement. You know, we got an announcement that the Secret Dream Gap Tour will be starting October 14th. And they've changed it up a bit.
Yeah, like a lot of it though, kind of.
Yeah, like a little bit, a lot of bit. Because it's the largest tour they've done yet.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. More cities, more showcases. Perfect.
Yeah.
It will showcase 43 Olympians and 75 players of the national level experience, and also new top college athletes will be a part of the PWHPA.
Yeah.
So we're talking top notch hockey is going to be played at these showcases. Still going to be the 4 teams. So Team Adidas, Harvey, Scotiabank, and Sonnet. Each one of those teams will have 25 players. So 100 players total.
Yeah, okay. And interesting, I never really thought about that till right now. The Scotiabank connection, very cool that they're going to continue to support women's hockey in the PWHPA, all things considered in the hockey world, and then them changing their investments within hockey in our country specifically.
Yeah.
So cool about that. The other thing that you mentioned too was they're going to have, it's almost like, sounds like to be a draft style, similar-ish to like AU environment, where there's going to be players from different countries, and they will kind of be distributed by somebody. We don't know yet who those somebodies are.
The panel. The panel. And all they say about this panel is it consists of individuals with NCAA, U Sport, and international experience and knowledge that will evaluate and distribute the top 100 players. And here's the thing. Over 150 women have registered to be a part of this show. Like, I guess it would be, I don't want to call it a trial because they definitely still have regions, but it's essentially all Olympic players representing 6 different countries across all 4 teams.
150 players are in the player pool?
Yeah, from a pool of more than 150 registrants representing 6 different countries.
We need more detail.
So that's where we say we heard stuff, but did we hear stuff? We heard stuff, like, and it's great to hear that it's kicking off and we're moving, and it's the biggest, the biggest showcase that we've had for these women across the PWHPA. But what we've seen is some women in the PWHPA that have now signed in the PHF. So now it's like, well, when are the rosters going to be released?
Yeah.
Who's playing where? Where are they going to be playing, right?
Yeah, and are they going to rotate like AU style across the teams? Because they were very much like, there was slight rotation last year if one team was short.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a rotating. This will be interesting. Cool.
Yeah, so they've essentially narrowed down the competition or the level of athlete that can be involved. You have to be of national ranking, right?
Yeah, past national experience, right? National program experience.
Yeah, or high level college experience.
Cool.
So I like it because it's going to allow people to learn more about European players.
Yeah.
Coming over, right? Like, that's a super big deal. But in the same token, it now starts to show the identity of it a little bit more, right? Like, it starts to show the identity of the PWHPA, which, for people who maybe just be tuning in, we've been talking about it. It's the Professional Women's Hockey Player Association, as more of the elite program, and then the PHF being where players can go to still get pro contracts and things like that. Like, they are trying to establish now their identity of being that high level Olympic league, and then the PHF being a pro league.
5 showcases, they said. And league still start. Is there anything in there about this league that was supposed to start in January?
Nothing about the league.
So interesting. The PWHPA continues. It's like the worst carrot on a stick ever.
No.
Right? Like, just these little bits of information. They don't actually tell us where the 5 showcases are going to be yet, do they?
No.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
We'll see weekend stops across in cities across North America.
Okay. Well,
so we got something. We got something, and that's cool for them to announce that it is definitely going to be a different format with different players this year, because we have seen PWH players go to the Premier Hockey Federation.
Yeah, exactly. I still, there's so many questions that we have around hockey, but that's kind of one of the fun parts is for us is that's one of the sports that we're most well connected in. So hopefully we can continue to kind of crack that code and talk to some of the players within the PWHPA and the PHF this upcoming season to understand what their experiences are like. I think I look forward to that. We definitely have opportunities, right? Whether that be coaching, maybe we get an opportunity with some coaching staff as well.
Yeah, for sure, because they've got new coaches coming in, a lot of new faces, a lot of new sponsorships. Like you see the Toronto Six really getting out there and being really heavily involved within the community and doing a lot of different things. So I think it's going to be the first, I don't want to say first because last year, but COVID, that darn stupid thing has always, it's like, I think this is going to be after that whole thing. This is going to be the first full push that the PHF has had, like without any distractions, without any travel restrictions, without anything that would hinder the league.
Yeah.
Because even last year there was still, we got to reschedule a game. Like I remember the Whites Caps game had to be rescheduled there and stuff. And it's like, this is going to be the first year where I feel like it's full tilty and they have brought in the expansion team of Montreal.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. I'll be excited too. I'll be really interested to see if they redo any of their stops.
Yeah.
Or if that's part of the goal is to sit down and find places that they haven't been and trying to expand their footprint, right, as the PWHPA.
You'd think.
You would think.
You'd think the goal would try to be, like, where was it last year? Well, there was one that was absolutely, where was it? It was either Washington. Well, all of them are successful. Like, let's get real. All of them are successful. But Washington and I think it was Ottawa were just lights out.
Oh, yeah. So we did talk about Ottawa.
We talked about it, how it's going to be cool for them to come back and then see the next year of being in that place, because it's like there was some really cool experiences in certain locations and they were all fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It was the first time it was in Ottawa though.
Yeah.
And, Washington, Boston, they always end up in really cool places, but it would be very interesting to see them try to reach some new markets.
Totally. What are the odds they'd ever come to Winnipeg?
I'd be all over that.
Yeah. Well,
send it in the universe. Let's bring
into
you
the
here.
universe.
Come on back.
Yeah. And I think, I look forward to, like we had said, being able to see this college connection too, because we had talked a lot about, when do we see the quote unquote junior that we see in boys?
Yep.
And is this the more close-knit tie between university college programs into a professional league? Because we haven't really seen anything like that from the PHF.
No, I would hope because it would, what is being played, like, and that was another thing too, with more women signing PHF contracts coming out of college. It's like, if they make it to a certain, the PWHPA and having that tie, I think there definitely should be, some type of showcasing or highlighting of that athlete going from there to there. That's so important because every parent kid understands that they can get to university. Now it's bridging that gap from university to pro and that conversation.
For sure. And if you are listening to this and you're thinking, man, I kind of miss watching really good hockey, all of the women at the national levels are in Copenhagen, Denmark right now, getting ready for the Women's Worlds. So you will have female hockey, women's hockey to watch.
What a cool place to go.
Right?
Come on.
Right?
Come on.
Agreed.
Let's do a Beers with Beauties episode there.
I love this. So when we were chatting before this of, wanting to just hang out and be able to talk and so we were just reminiscing. And one of the things I was reminiscing on was the fact that we always call it Beers with Beauties. And we're essentially self-proclaimed beauties because it's really just beers with us.
Beers with us.
Not to be confused with Toys R Us, beers with us. And we do plan on expanding that platform and inviting more people. We're trying to figure out if we invite them into my lovely basement with us or if we need to find some other space. It becomes really hard to cheer someone through a computer screen.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, Beers with Beauties in Denmark does not sound bad.
No, it does not. And I talk about this all the time because if I keep talking about it and I know it's never going to die. But when we get to the sports bra,
yeah,
I just think that would be like the funnest episode of all time.
Yeah.
Because even if you think of the success like of that one establishment alone this past year, Jenny Ewan, right?
Yeah.
She has been everywhere.
I know.
Everywhere. She is crushing it.
Literally crushing it.
And it's that bar has made such a huge impact in that area.
Oh, yeah. And beyond, right? I think people are really starting to think about like, we joked, but we weren't joking. It's like, that needs to be a franchise. And like, let's put that through everywhere that, you know, has the capacity or population to support it. Because they do the signature cocktails. So we were talking about, you know, beers gets hard sometimes and just like, ugh, I feel like I don't want any beer today. And so we were saying, oh, how fun would it be eventually to have signature cocktails for our guests? We might need to tap into Jenny's like expertise because you and I, there'd just be bad puns.
Yeah. I'm just nicknames for them with ski at the end, you know?
Literally.
What's your name? Amanda Ski. All right, Mensky. Here we go. You know, like I agree. We need some professional help in that regard, but it has brought so many. I don't know, when we talk about it and we reminisce and we see where Beauties is actually going and the responses that we've get from people and stuff, like it is funny to think back on like our first 3 episodes.
Oh, we had no idea. Oh God.
No clue.
So we record these now every week. And fun fact for you all, we don't have a nice camera. It's a phone. It's an iPhone that gives you a half decent picture. And maybe someday we'll upgrade into the world of DSLRs and all these fancy cameras. But Christ, if you would have seen episode 1 with Addie and I, there's no freaking chance we're updating our cameras. No. Because I have in my notes here of my highlights so far, I literally called us blanket people because we thought that every sound bounced it off of everything. And so we had pillows, stuck to the walls and corners and blankets literally tacked to my walls in my basement.
So to set the stage for everybody with this whole... So we decide we're doing a podcast and we're doing a podcast on women's sports because we're super passionate about it and we're going for it. We want to do a podcast. So then, you know, Cowie's like, well, I got a spot.
I got more room than you. I didn't have in-laws and a kid.
Yeah, that's right. So we start, okay, well, I also have like a fold out table. All right, perfect. We got a spot. We have a room and a table. And then my nephew is incredible, and oh my gosh, Cowie's just showing me a picture. We're gonna have to put that up for sure. And he was walking us through how to set everything up through FaceTime into equipment that we have never in our lives seen before.
No.
We knew we loved podcasts. We knew we loved women's sports. We knew we loved what we were talking about, and then we actually got into the nitty-gritty of getting into it, and it was like, what did we just get into?
Why did we decide
We're buying
this?
equipment left, right, and center. We got all this stuff. Cowie orders everything off Amazon, shows up at our door, and it's like Christmas. We're opening it. We're flying stuff everywhere. No idea how to use it. No idea what's going on. But then, like Cowie was just referring to, the sound. Everything is all about the sound. You have to make sure your voices sound good. So one of the ways to limit the sound is to put blankets and pillows everywhere.
Shit everywhere. That is hard.
And
holy God.
so us just started putting blankets up everywhere.
I will.
Behind, corners, pillows, so that they didn't bounce off one wall to the other. We had the whole place on like pillow and blanket lockdown because we wanted to make sure the sound was good.
Literally. I found, this is November 18th, 2021.
Oh, that's good. We're going to have to put those up for sure.
Yeah. So I must have taken it one picture. I think our first episode would have been this photo. November 25th, 2021. We will post these on Wednesday. We'll give you a day to put this in your ears, and then we'll post these pictures on our Instagram, which is at Beauty Sports Talk, on Wednesday this week.
Yeah.
So that you can see what the heck we're talking about. Because, my God, did we look like a bunch of goofs. But I love, and I think that's like so sports relatable in the sense that we were so freaking excited. We're so goddamn competitive.
Yeah.
We have a passion and a love. We have messages and things that we want to share. We see the value of creating community. And it was like, screw it. We'll figure it out.
We'll get her done.
We'll figure it out. And Christ, if you guys think that we are like seamless in this now, 40 episodes later, let me tell you, you are super wrong.
Yeah. And that was the one thing that I did write as we were talking, because we went before and we kind of wrote down a couple of fun memories that we had or whatever. But the one thing I wrote down is it's not as easy as it seems. Like
No.
for content and conversation and making it sound like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard, and you have to be committed.
Yeah, it is hard. And there's a lot of things about it that are hard that I think I never would have guessed. It is hard to hear your own voice. So, but naturally, in order to get better at doing this, you have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to those weird freaking nuances you have in your voice.
Yeah.
The things that you say an annoying amount of times, which hopefully you guys have all realized that at the beginning we used to say 100%, 100%, 1,000%. We say it still, but we say it far less. Because that was a drinking game. Like, hopefully you guys had a great time listening to our episodes, because you would have been canned.
Absolutely can. Because that was the one thing when you were just going to say that too, that in the beginning, because we were super in depth on what we were talking about in the beginning, but we in our first 2 episodes really wanted to make sure that we knew that we supported each other. So anytime Cowie would say anything, I was like, absolutely.
Yeah. You're so right, buddy.
You're
You
so
got
right.
this. Yeah.
Bud, you're so right. Like, just like over the top supportive, because we wanted to make sure.
Remember
and we're
when
like,
Tara was like, I can't even listen to you guys. God.
you guys got to stop being so supportive of each
Tone
other.
it down. We know you love each other. You're so annoying.
Stop doing that. So that was one of the things too. Like, it is hard to hear yourself in the beginning, and then you're like, critically thinking, oh, did I say something, blah, 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 all the time, right? So,
yeah, it's hard to hear yourself. It's not easy to do technically, like, unless you're a sound person.
yeah.
We've rebought stuff. Like Addie was saying, I bought stuff on Amazon. Well, you better believe I bought the cheapest shit I could. So I was like, we don't know.
What's going on over here?
What's the difference between a $30 pair of headphones and a $150 pair of headphones? I'll tell you what, lots
of things.
Lots.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had to rebuy things. It's been a learning curve along the way. It was hard we had to do our homework on how to follow a lot of sports, because, we've talked about, and pretending we're in different countries to be able to watch things, scheduling, this is something we do every week together. And that means that we never go super, super far. And if we do, we have to plan accordingly for that. So yeah, it hasn't been easy, but frick, it's been fun.
Oh my gosh, it's been so fun. And like, even reminiscing and thinking back on, like, when we're talking about the sound quality, when we were like weird blanket and pillow ladies, there was one story, and I'll never ever forget this for my whole life, because it's like, it's all about the sound quality. It's all about that. So we were trying to figure out how to get this thing to work, and we couldn't figure out if it was coming out of your mic or my mic. So then we were trying to be like, okay, well, how do we figure this out? And then Cowie is like, okay, well, I'll go down under the bed and then, or beside the bed. And then I was like, okay, I'll go to the spare room. There's no way we'll be able to hear each other in the spare room. So we're in different places in Cowie's basement trying to see if the sound works. And we're like, I don't even know if we solved it from that.
We didn't. And we didn't.
We didn't. We tried.
Yeah, we didn't. Or our test runs, we just thought we didn't know. So just FYI for everybody, there are different kinds of microphones. Mm-hmm. And some of them you need to talk into the end, and some of them take sound from anywhere on them. And we just assumed that microphones just picked up noise. They got this big foam thing, and just assumed that no matter where you're talking to it, it sounds the same. So remember, we were sitting on up. We were like, no, the microphone is dead even between the two of us. And then Adam was like, dude, it only picks up sound from one side. Yeah. We were like, come on.
We had one mic.
We're just almost both kissing the mic, leaned into the middle of the table, and it only picks up your side. We're like, why do I sound so shitty? I guess I'll get closer.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's probably good ads. God.
Picture the two of us on one side of the table, one mic, and we're like, today in the NWSL. They're like, what?
Yeah. And then we pack. So we've progressed, right? We now, we've got lights that, because I like to wear a hat. So I had the worst shadows on my face for the first 20 episodes of this. And then again, ordered some stuff on Amazon. Look at that. We look better now. But we realized that we can pack it up. So now we take our stuff on the road if we go on the road, but we're still bad. We went to record an episode with Erica Reeder, and we've got this, what do you call that again? Suite?
Yeah.
Hospitality
suite.
And so we blocked the parents, and we decided that we're going to record this episode with Reeder up in this hospitality suite. And we packed up these two microphones that we're using today, and we brought another one, and we took them up to this suite, and we plugged one into number 1, number 2, number 3, these outputs. And you think that we could figure out how the hell? So yeah, we just ditched one of our fancy new microphones that we have.
We just dubbed.
Didn't work. Just like, that doesn't work. We don't know how to troubleshoot anything. We just pass the mic back and forth, and it is what it was. But
yeah.
We're learning, and I think that's been some of the most fun too, is the longer we do this, 40 episodes, it's not going to be long until we've been doing this for a solid year. Mm-hmm. And it's really fun to me. I was looking at some of the statistics. So we use a thing called Buzzsprout, and that's what puts our podcast out into the world for you guys. And it allows us to see where listeners are from. And I'm not going to, the list is long. We've got people from, Canada, US, Germany, France, Brazil, Norway, Cayman Islands. That's just to name a few. But when you look at the list of cities, Winnipeg, Calgary, Vancouver, let's just name Canadian ones for now: Regina, Edmonton, Airdrie, Brandon, Toronto, Virden, Selkirk. There's a ton of little towns in Manitoba here, Montreal, Rochester, Minnesota. Like, the list goes on. It's fun now because it almost doesn't matter where you go. You had that interaction with this week with someone saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you called because I'm such a big fan."
Yeah.
And that is where this is really starting to get fun for me, is that we have, it's so much. If you guys think, "Oh, I don't know if I want to reach out because they don't know who I am and who am I to them." You think it's fun for Addie and I to talk to each other all day? We do that as it is.
Let's go. Come on.
So hearing from you and hearing your feedback and hearing what you want to hear us talk about, and us then being able to realize that not everyone knows what the WTA is and what's going on in tennis or the LPGA. I think that has been the most fun part.
Yeah. And I would 100% agree, there I go. 100%.
Taking it back.
In the way of, that is for sure been one of the most reassuring and exciting pieces of this whole thing, is as we not only talk every single week about women's sports or the guests that we have on or the different topics that we cover, everybody reaches out and relates in their own specific way. And will tell us their stories and will tell us what happened in their region or whatever the case may be. And community is so important. And for us to know these stories, get it out into the world and have these conversations, cool. Very cool.
Yeah, because I think I know I speak from like a very small town experience. But man, I was the only one back then, and yeah, it feels that's been some of the most fun part of this is like just FYI on the fact that community doesn't need to be your small town or your team. It can be far more broad than that, and I think the really fun part too is that an athlete is an athlete.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you play squash or throw a javelin, play hockey, fastball, volleyball. There is something innately in common that you have when you are an athlete, period.
Oh, and the people that we've like, even the people we've had on the show that we've interviewed and stuff. Like we interviewed like Lila and Mia Bandman in the same episode, a graduating hockey player and a rookie a basketball player. And it was like, you've always known each other and you inherently kind of have this connection and trust in that you understand and know their story and that you'll be willing to talk with them about their story and stuff like that. It's just the coolest piece of this whole thing is because we were so like, we both come from very intense hockey and baseball backgrounds that once we reach out and see all this other world, it's like, man, athletes are athletes. Like it is so fun and cool. And that is so exciting.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest take home. And that's like what we really are focused on creating, right? Is this culture and community of just like-minded people and realizing, because we do, you tend to get pigeonholed, right? Within your own sport. And so that's been fun. Like, who knew that a javelin player or curling, as an example, like when we got to hang out with Caitlin Laws, you'd think sometimes when you think about curling, because it's very different than hockey when you watch it. There's this like team but very individual aspect of curling. It is loud but not at all.
Yeah.
Passionate fans, which is very much like any other sport, but yeah, she's just as competitive. She's got this fire. Like, I don't know. So cool to see that no matter what sport you play.
Yeah, absolutely love it. So being able to look and see like all the people that are tuning in for the show and enjoying it and bringing their own personal spin to it, like we can't ask for anything better than that. Like that is so cool to be watched every single week, because even there's sometimes when we did our 2021 year in review, like our top 10, that was a fun episode. And we'll do it for 2022 too.
Yeah, it was fun because it was still so new.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I put Crocs on. So you can picture Winnipeg approaching New Year's. It's definitely Crocs weather.
Yeah. Toss some Crocs on.
Like,
You'll be fine.
Of all the footwear choices I had, I'm like, yeah, let's put Crocs on. And we go rocking up to the vendor that's closest to my house here and buy a 15-pack at Kokanee, because that's what... No, it wasn't Kokanee. It was Coors Original.
Yeah.
That was less of a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we could have bought a 6-pack because that's what we needed to talk for 35, 45 minutes. Bought a 15, sat here and smashed them all.
Gone, just having the time of our lives talking about a year in sports.
Yeah. Which was an interesting concept in the fact that we had only talked about sports for 4 episodes on the podcast. But I think it was very cool for me because it very much showed that we watched sports all year. We just didn't talk about it in a podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Because we just...
Which was fun.
Yeah, because we just knew.
Yeah.
We knew what was going on and did a little digging in certain episodes. But to be able to... And then that's the hope for this year. Like, we can get some cool people on and just... rip the year up and see what happened. And because I will tell you, it has been a wild year.
Oh, yeah.
It has been a wild year. Like that episode is going to maybe even head into the 24-pack range. Who knows? Like, who knows? maybe we have our signature drink by then. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We do know that Addie's signature drink is a Mai Tai.
Mai Tai. Hundo.
A hundo.
Hundo Mai Tais.
I can't wait for that. I
Yeah,
can't
no,
wait
me
to try
neither.
Mai Tai.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's yeah. You can buy pre-made Mai Tais, kind of like how you can buy pre-made Caesars now.
We should look into it.
You should look into it.
Okay. I will. But yeah, that was fun in the sense of every single episode that we've done with beers with beauties. And I love how you said that at the beginning of the show. We're just
Beers with us.
beers with us.
Self-proclaimed beers with beauties. But it's really just beers with us.
I love that so much. Is we meet up and we talk, and then it's like, you know what? Get in the car. We're gonna go. We're gonna go drink, and we're just gonna talk about sports, which thoroughly enjoy. So I cannot wait for this year's episode.
Yeah, me too. The funny part was today, I'm a big craft beer fan, and so is Addie. That was one thing when we traveled together. That was the first thing we did, was went and found a vendor or a beer store and bought the most random beers.
Yeah.
But today we did that kind of like you do, you know, when you're little kids, of like, you get your Halloween candy, and then for me, I had a sister, but you put all the like things in a row. So you put all your pops and all your chips and all your chocolate bars, and then to split them, you went 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, picking your faves. That's exactly how Addie and I picked beer today in the fridge. I lined them all up and I opened both doors and I said, "Okay, go ahead, you pick first." Yeah. So she picked, then I picked, then she picked, then I picked. And I think that's great. Yeah, I think that's fun. I'm now drinking a Spectrum Beer Company Hot Pink Lemonade Sour, which is made in Vancouver. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good summer beer.
It looks very summery.
Yeah.
Like that looks like needs to be summer. You can't drink that in winter.
Feels like summer.
Good tune.
Yeah.
Good tune.
Yeah.
You know, another time that we just drank a bunch of random beers with people was the moms in Minneapolis.
I love those moms.
That was one of those really cool episodes, and it just worked out the way that it worked out. And I think that that's one of the things that I guess would say for, you know, we kind of have a saying between the two of us, like, we'll figure it out. Doesn't matter what happened. We'll figure it out. So we had that episode in Minneapolis, and we'll figure it out. And the next thing you know, we've got these two awesome people with us, and we're drinking, and it ends up being one of a huge episode.
Yeah.
People really enjoyed their perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that that's one thing that we are going to bring a lot more down the line, is parents' perspectives for their kids. Because that hit some big heartstrings there, I think.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna try and get as many perspectives as we can. And one thing that we've also realized too, like, and we are gonna try and do a better job of sharing ourselves, because I don't think we do that very well. It's hard to talk about yourself, I'll be honest, especially for you and I. Not super easy, not super comfortable, but do want to be able to articulate and share like who we are and why we function and all those things. But then doing that same thing with other humans, and they don't necessarily need to be Olympians. You don't need to be, you can be a former athlete. You can be someone who just loves to watch sports. You can be someone who never played a sport in their life and only ever refereed. Don't care what passion you have for sports, as long as there is one in you. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to become really, really fun with Beers and Beauties, because we talked about that. Not everyone knows all of the ins and outs of what's happening in everyday sports, but it's really about creating community.
Yeah. And learning through other people's experiences.
Yeah.
Right. So who better to learn from than the people that have gone through it?
Yeah.
And you're bang on. Like, not the greatest at like talking about ourselves. Like, to be honest, like, I even see some people online and I'm like, wow, like, that's a commitment.
Yeah.
to get on there and do all that kind of stuff all the time. Like, I love this. Podcasting is, and every time I go somewhere and somebody, I had the cutest woman come up to me and go, "I love your broadcast." And I was like, "Thank you so much. That's so nice." But I'm like,
so
that's so
nice.
great. But I
Yeah.
was like, this is the environment I feel most comfortable in, like getting out there and doing that stuff I've never been into. But when we get more people on the show, which will be happening soon, I think their stories are really what's going to be a huge piece of the growth of what we're trying to do here, because we're trying to bridge the gap between where it was and where we want it to go. And you have to learn about all that stuff that's happened before to really understand and appreciate where we're trying to get this to go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, the other thing I was thinking about the other day is, which we've never, I don't think, asked anybody. I'm a pretty avid podcast follower, so is Addie. But I think creating a network and community of people who are doing similar things to what we are doing in this would be really cool. So if you are an avid podcast listener, or if you're from another part of the country or the world or the province, wherever you are, and you found something, like I would really be interested to see people share that back with us.
Mm-hmm.
Because I see that. I work in agriculture every day, and I see that happening more in agriculture, where there's people doing very niche podcasts, right? A woman doing a podcast about gardening specifically, like that's it. But it fits into this agricultural realm. Another one doing, you know, she's her and her husband are organic farmers.
Right.
Or they're in livestock. And they really have this very well connected atmosphere of people inside of that industry.
Right.
And so that's my challenge to everyone listening, is that if you have a podcast or a community that you think would be cool for Addie and I to connect with, then please send that our way, because I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see so many women, pushing the envelopes in their own little specific, like I stumbled upon a woman who only makes basketball shorts for women.
So yeah, see, cool.
That is her job.
Yep.
Recognizing she was a basketball player, the shorts never fit properly, getting everything together to make her own product of women's basketball shorts. Lights out.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Lights out. What a phenomenal idea. Phenomenal idea, because let's get real. Women have hips. We don't fit the same clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
We do not.
Yeah. Yeah. And if any of you want to start a podcast, reach out and ask Addie and I, because we don't need you to make the same mistakes we made.
Oh my gosh, we could definitely
it was fun.
Speed it up for you for sure. Because one of the things too, so within talking with all that, you have a platform, like we use Buzzsprout to get it out to you guys and whatever, but you record on a different one. And so we were recording and we couldn't get it to record. And we're like, oh gosh, like, I don't know what we're doing wrong. It's been like 3 hours. We have no Adams on the phone. Everybody's putting their heart and soul into this thing. And I think you went, well, why don't we just like
try Google Chrome?
Try it in Chrome. Like we've gone through every other possible option we could to get it to record.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that you think would be the easiest, hit the record button.
Yeah.
The easiest thing. We open up Google Chrome. We open it up in Google Chrome. Clear as day. Worked
Bing,
like a train.
Bang, boom. We recorded a podcast.
WTF.
Yeah. And
that was one of those times where we were just like, now we laugh so hard. And like we did at the time, we were just like, what else do you do?
Yeah.
What else do you do? But absolutely just die laughing.
Yeah, we did die laughing. And then so in front of us, so with the thing that we use to actually like record physically now that we don't use this website is a Rodecaster Pro. And so one day on a whim, I text Addie and I'm like, I bought this thing. It's pretty expensive, but it looks like it'll be far more intuitive than this website that requires Google Chrome and this other box thing that we had. And do you remember the first day we used it? So you guys can't see what's sitting in front of us, but it's freaking awesome. I'm just going to lift this up so you can see it. You guys can probably see that now. It's got a bunch of colorful buttons, and it's got one big, huge record button. And that's honestly what we were looking for the whole time.
Yeah.
Was someone just to tell us what to press to start recording. And so this thing has been an absolute dream. Honestly, the goal is we're probably at a point where we're going to need a second one of these because we'd love to create more content, and that shouldn't require us, Addie, to drive here every time either. So someday we might have two of these things, but it has nice, beautiful colors. It is super intuitive and made life so much easier because we looked like two donkeys trying to record a podcast for the first 6 episodes.
Oh my God. We'll put that out into the world just to show people you can get her done. Because we just went through every single possible hiccup we could.
In 40 episodes.
And we got over it. Yep, absolutely. So
wild.
I think this was a really fun episode for us because we got to reminisce and talk about all the things that we've gone over and talked about. It is episode 40, which blows my mind. It has been an absolute ride, and I cannot wait to see where this goes even further. And it's all because of everybody who listens.
That's right.
It's all because of everybody who listens, engages, is a part of this, sees what we're doing, sees it in their daughter, sees it in themselves, sees it in somebody that they know. And that's all we can ask for. Yeah. And so thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I think we've said it a lot, but it is a burning passion of ours, and we've seen a lot of excitement around it with all of you. So for those of you who join us on a weekly basis, we can't thank you enough. We know who you are, a lot of you, because you reach out to us. But if this is your first episode here, this is a weird one for you. There's 39 episodes previous to this. Some of them might be harder to listen back to just because they're the sports that have happened in that week. But we appreciate you joining us for this one. There's going to be a heck of a lot more beyond episode 40. But it is all of your support, all of your love, the interactions on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, on YouTube, through Spotify, through iTunes, whatever platform you listen to. Those are the main two. The best way that you can continue to help us grow this show is by leaving us a rate and a review. And I jokingly say it when I mention it that 5 stars particularly helps. And we have said some controversial things, and some people don't like that and don't give us 5 stars. And that's okay too. That keeps us honest.
That's right.
And it's not about a 5-star rating for us. It's about being honest and being able to say the hard things and have conversations and hold ourselves and people accountable. So any opportunity you have to do that is very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with everything that, you mentioned before, as well as this sense of kind of tying it all together, the sense of community that we're feeling, for people to now, and I know this has happened to you as well, come up and everywhere, talk about the show, talk about how people are really talking about the show. At the end of the day, that's great for us to hear. But more importantly, it's because people are talking about women's sports. Mm-hmm. People are talking about the things that we're really trying to grow and the things that we're super passionate about. And that's exciting. That's exciting. What we're here for. So in true Beauties fashion, Cowie, final words.
You're not even going to let me pass it back.
No chance, my friend.
Like we've said, thank you for being here. Thank you for 40 episodes. Addie, thank you for hanging out with me for 40 straight freaking weeks in a row. That's hard to believe. It has been a ride. We appreciate all of you for being here. Our challenge to you this week is go and find something to watch. There's women's sports on TV, on the internet, on Instagram, wherever you can find content. Go and do that this week. Help celebrate with us for episode 40. Next week, we will see you, my friend, for 41, but cheers to this one.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you all. We will see you next week.